Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed the previous speaker. Okay, so we're going to get right to it. How many of you know how important it is to know your numbers? Right? It's important to know your numbers. For instance, your blood pressure, your age. Sometimes we try to hide that number, but it's important to know it. Specifically, your doctor and those professionals need to know your weight, social security number, your bank balance, your mortgage, your rent. All of those numbers are important so that you can manage your life. Would you agree?
Yes.
As wedding professionals, we also need to pay attention to data and to pay attention to our numbers. Today, I'll share a few numbers with you that will hopefully help you put things into perspective. I'll begin by reading a survey conducted by the Knot, which was quite revealing. So I want you to listen closely. I'm going to list 10 wedding vendors that couples look for or look to hire, seek to hire when they're about to begin planning their wedding. Number 1 is wedding dress. Number 2 is venue. Number 3 is photographer. Number 4 is caterer. Gotta eat, right? Number 5 is groom's attire. Number 6 is cake. Number 7 is hair and makeup, right? Number 8 is DJ. Number 9 is event rentals. And number 10, to round out the list, is florist. So what are we thinking? Did we not hear one vendor category that, in my opinion, is critical to the planning process? Hence the word planning. Planner, right? I gotta tell you, I was flabbergasted. I was more than a little bit shook and surprised that it was nowhere on the list. Now, when I attempted to, read the list, when I saw the headline, I'm like, okay, planner's probably gonna be all the way down there. But when I saw that it wasn't on the list at all, I was like, oh, we've got work to do. We've got serious work to do. Would you agree? Because we're not even on the list. As planners, we're not even on the list. Okay, so let me ask you, welcome. If you build it, they will come. Who's heard that phrase? If you build it, they will come, right? Who's also heard, give the people what they want, right? I've heard that. As business owners, which statement resonates with you? Just think about that. If you build it, they will come, give the people what they want. Which one resonates with you as business owners, as wedding planners, coordinators? At face value, they are both valid statements, for sure. But the statement, if you build it, they will come, it requires a great deal more effort, because if you build it, they're not just gonna come. We need marketing, right? We need exposure. We need visibility. So launching the website and being on as many social platforms as possible only really scratches the surface. If they, being couples, don't know we built it, will they really come? Will they really come if they don't know we've hung out our shingle and we're in business and we have our clipboard ready and our cell phone ready and we're ready to go? Let's lean into the other phrase, give the people what they want. Yes, marketing and visibility require efforts too, right? That's, give the people what they want doesn't mean you don't market yourself or you don't need to be visible. But there's a key difference. The key difference is that if you give the people what they want, not only will they come, wait for it, they'll be looking for you. Oh my gosh. That resonated with me. They'll be looking for you. because people will buy, couples will hire the vendors that they deem necessary for their wedding. Look, that is just the long and short of it. So if they want to hire a planner, they're going to be looking for a planner. They're going to be looking for a coordinator. So as wedding planners, let that sink in. And while that's sinking in, I'm going to share with you some more numbers, right? We started out with our life numbers, right? Our weights, which is a lot less for me now, thank God. Our IQ, oh, we didn't talk about that one, right? Our IQ, you know, those are important numbers. According to the Wedding Planning Institute, the knot, and we all know how influential and important the knot is, whatever your feelings may be about the knot, they are where couples go when they want to plan their wedding. And they report that in 2025, 27% of married couples hired a professional wedding planner. 27, y'all, 27%. And the breakdown, I don't know if y'all ready for this, but the breakdown of that 27% was 37% hired a day of wedding coordinator, and 31% of that 27% hired a full planner. Now I know I started out talking about numbers, but I'm really not a numbers gal, but that's roughly a third, right, of the couples planning their wedding deemed it necessary to hire a wedding planner. So wedding planner, coordinator, there's room for both. I know sometimes in the industry there's confusion and we kind of overlap, but there's room for both. But if everyone wants to be a full planner, then money's being left on the table, because remember, 37% of couples are looking for wedding coordinators. They've decided, I'm going to be the planner. Okay, I've got this, that way, I've got this. But on the wedding day, they know, well, I can't get married and handle the behind the scenes details, right? So they hire a wedding coordinator, and the wedding coordinator's primary job is to take the plans and execute them. So when we're talking wedding planning, couples are more inclined to hire someone to do that. So the stats are low, and I have thoughts about why they are so low, why that 27% is so low. And the thought I have is that, one, couples think they are saving money if they plan on their own. We're in a peculiar or a special space in that we're not giving them something tangible, right? What we do is very cerebral. What we do is all about knowing where all the balls are at every time. You know, when someone's getting married and they're about to say I do and kiss, I'm already in the cocktail hour in my head. So what we do is not tangible. And a lot of times couples or people in general don't put as much emphasis or value on things that are not tangible. Like, I want to buy flowers, give me flowers, I see what I spent my money on. Do y'all understand what I mean? But we are providing a service. But how many know that this service is critical to the overall success of the wedding? When you think about weddings, maybe in your jobs or in your family, they went to a wedding and they come back, how often do you hear, oh, it was so disorganized? It was so disorganized. You know, I had to wait hours for the wedding party to show up, or dinner was late. You know, things like that. But that's what wedding coordinators do. We make sure that there are no gaps in the service or in the service that we provide and in the wedding itself. So couples think they're saving money, but if they think about it, their time is worth something, right? Their time is worth something. Not only are they spending a considerable amount of extra time researching what they don't know, researching to do something that they don't know how to do, they may be choosing the most expensive option, okay? So we can do a whole workshop just on that. Number two, some venue staff tell them they don't need a planner. Now, don't get mad at me, venue staff, if you happen to be in this workshop, or if you happen to be listening to the replay. If that's not you, then you're okay, right? But let's be real. We came here to get some real information so that we can move our businesses to the next level. Would you agree? Now, venue staff, as wonderful as they are, and we need them, we work hand in hand with them, we collaborate with them, but it would be beneficial to our couples if we agreed that venue coordinators are not wedding coordinators. Repeat that to yourself silently. Venue coordinators are not wedding coordinators. They're both needed. They're both needed. The venue coordinator is there on the wedding day to be the ally or the spokesperson for the venue, and that's necessary. And they also help me out as a wedding coordinator when I play that role. They are necessary because we collaborate. There's things about the venue that I don't know. The lights go out, I don't know where the switch is, right? If a plug, I don't know, doesn't work, they know quickly where another one is. Things like that, the logistics. However, they're not there, now I know I'm preaching to the choir, but they're not there to take care of the needs of the couple, okay? So when a couple goes to a venue and they book the venue and they say, you don't need a wedding coordinator, we have a venue coordinator. They do, but they're being misrepresented. And it's not until the wedding day that the couple realizes, they kind of disappeared after dinner. What happened? 3, couples want to make sure they remain in control of their vision. And this is a big one. I think this even trumps the I want to save money reason. Because think about it. If you were getting married, you want your vision front and center, right? And regrettably, some planners, if this is not you, I'm not stepping on your toes, but some planners take jobs and they want their brand to be seen. You know, they want to make sure they get good pictures in their colors, so they kind of steer the couple in the direction that they want them to go. Now, it's okay to make recommendations. I'm not saying you shouldn't. It's okay to make recommendations because that's necessary. That's why they hired you, for your expertise and your recommendations. But at the end of the day, it's their wedding. And we need to make sure that they feel like they're in the driver's seat and they're in control. So the streets are talking. A lot of times couples don't want to hire a full planner because they don't want to be told what to do and they don't want to feel like they have to acquiesce to what we want. 4, they think their auntie or their friends can manage the wedding day. They can't. They can't. Even if their auntie or their friend is a wedding professional, they're there as a guest, right? And weddings are emotional. Hiring a professional is beneficial to the couple because we don't have any skin in the game, emotionally speaking, right? And then the other thing is, auntie and the friend, they may not know how to anticipate, right, what could happen because you didn't see this happen. For instance, at one of our weddings, they had a dummy cake. A dummy cake, as you all know, is when there's a real slice of cake hidden in a dummy cake. The couple comes around the table, they slice the cake, they put it on the plate, and they eat. And then there's a sheet cake in the back, as you know, that they slice up to give to the guests. Well, one wedding, they did all of that, started bringing out the cut sheet cake, but the dummy cake was still there. And I'm like, but wait, what are we doing? So those kinds of things you have to anticipate. You have to be the shadow of some people to make sure they're doing the right thing and they're timely with it. So how do we as wedding planners and coordinators overcome those objections? Well, first, we deal with the person in the mirror, us. We deal with us first, right? We acknowledge they exist. We don't think we're so special and we're so wonderful that this doesn't apply to us, because my service is on point, right? And I know what I'm doing, and I got your best interest at heart. They don't know that. They don't know you, okay? They don't know you. And they have legitimate concerns because 9 out of 10 times they're hiring you and you are a complete stranger. And they are saying, here, this is my wedding, make it wonderful. And they're in the back praying, OMG, oh my goodness. Whew, I hope they come through. So we have to acknowledge that those are legitimate concerns and they do exist. 2, we recognize that both planners and coordinators are needed. 3, we recognize each have different skill sets. A planner is macro, right? Big picture. A coordinator is micro, detail oriented. They're in the weeds and skilled at execution. Sometimes my couples wonder why I'm always asking questions, because that's the only way you get answers, and because I am anticipating everything that could go wrong. That sounds weird, right? But yeah, I want to anticipate what could go wrong so I can put in place a solution before it ever happens to keep it from ever happening. Some people can do both. Some people are big picture and then they can micro down and be detail oriented. That's great. It's up to us to decide which are most skillful for us. I don't have any stats for what I'm about to say. It's my opinion, I will say that. But I think in the wedding industry, there's a little bit of posturing and a little bit of hierarchy going on, whereas planners don't want to be called wedding coordinators because I'm a planner, right? I'm not a wedding coordinator, but they're both needed. They're both needed. So if you feel like you're one of those, stop it. Stop it. It's like a doctor and a nurse. They're both needed. If I walk into an emergency room with a limb hanging, I really don't care what you're calling yourself. Doctor, nurse, LPN, I just need you to help me. So when I first entered the wedding industry, I was one of those people, right? I was an off-premise caterer. And to market myself, I would sponsor or plan events and then prepare appetizers to showcase my catering. And long story short, I realized that as I was planning these events, like I would plan 4-hour music and moonlight cruises, I would plan art exhibits, I would plan family get-together nights, I would book a room and then just feed them appetizers in hopes that if they're having an event, they call House of Manor Catering. Then came another realization. I love the details. I loved the details of planning the events more than being in the kitchen, rolling those Swedish meatballs and cleaning the chicken and making the patties and is the crust flaky enough? Larry loved it because he was a tester, but I love the details. And I also realized I love collaborating with couples. So do I have the skills to be a full planner? Absolutely, yes. But what I love is being a wedding coordinator, because I get to really get into the weeds of it all. And the couple is woosah because they know you're the planner, right? You calling yourself the planner, so we'll let you call yourself the planner. But you know and I know that I'm helping you do this. But they feel at ease because they feel like they're in the driver's seat and their vision is being front and center, right? Now remember, 27% of couples who hire wedding planners, of that, 37% hire wedding coordinators. 37% of the 27%. I don't want you to think it's 37% out of 100. It's 37% out of 27% hire wedding coordinators. So in the beginning of my business, I struggled. I struggled because I wanted to be a planner. I'm a wedding planner. I'm not Jennifer Lopez, but I am a wedding planner, right? fine, it was fine, and it is fine. It really is fine. For those couples who don't want to be involved at all, here's my credit card, make it happen. I can work with that. But I love working with the couples because I was that couple who didn't know what I was doing when I got married and I needed help. So I feel an affinity to those couples, which is why I gravitate towards them. So my couples are wedding professionals who are busy. They're too busy to do the details, but they know help. They know they need help. So in the beginning of my business, I struggled until I decided to do what I love, which is to lean into being a wedding coordinator. So I'm a wedding planner, but I specialize in wedding coordination. And now my business is thriving, and I'm happy to say that. So then when we begin to overcome couples' objections, how do we do that? How do we overcome? We talked about dealing with the person in the mirror, right? We need to come to terms with who we are and who we are presenting to them. Because if we're calling ourselves one thing, but in actuality we're functioning as something else, we're giving off mixed signals, and that's not gonna work, right? So we need to educate them. We need to educate them because couples don't know. They don't know that a day of wedding coordinator does not just walk in and miraculously take care of everything. They don't know that. It's more of month of coordinator at the very least. For me, an event you love, it's at least 3 months out. The longer, the better. But they don't know that. So education is key. Couples think they're saving money if they plan their own wedding, but they're not. Wedding planner is time consuming, and their time is worth something. As wedding professionals, we have reliable vendors on speed dial, right? That we can save them time and money. And we know because we've worked with these vendors that they're reliable, that they're not doing this just because they need to pay a bill. They're doing this because they have a passion for it, right? I remember one woman hired a photographer and they said, oh, my photographer can't make it, he got a job. I'm like, what are we doing? He got a job. So then I was like, okay, note to self, I only work with, I'm okay if the couple wants to hire their own vendors, because as a wedding coordinator, I don't have control over that. As a planner, I do. But if a couple comes, in my contract states, your vendors have to be professional vendors. Like Uncle Sam has to know they exist, right? Okay, some venue staff tell them they don't need a planner. Share what we do versus what the venue coordinator do. They just don't know. We don't have to bash the venue, that's not necessary. They're not trying to trick them. We just need to share the information, right? Couples want to make sure they remain in control of their vision. Remember that it's their wedding. It's not about our brand. And communicate that to them. Like, what do you want? Here's my recommendation. Never do I say, this is what you should do. This is my recommendation. Talk to whomever and let me know what you both decide. This is what will happen if you choose A. This is what will happen if you choose B, right? Give them the consequences of their choices, but let them make the choice. And then 4, friends and family, friends and relatives, they want to be guests, not hired help. Like 6 months out, a year out, they say, yeah, sure, I'll be the wedding coordinator. Do they even know what that really means? They don't know that it means you can't be sitting down in the ceremony because you need to be in the back and make sure the cocktail hour is set up. So they don't really know what that means. So I recommend, you share with them the pitfalls of having someone who is a friend or a relative be the wedding coordinator. I remember we went to one wedding in New York, right? Had a wedding in New York and I was the guest. Larry was the officiant. So I was the guest. I was not the planner. I was not the coordinator. I was like, okay, turn it off, Rena. This is not, stay in your lane. You're a guest. Because I kept seeing things, I kept seeing things. Oh, that's not done. Stay in your lane. The coordinator was the maid of honor. I know, right? So we were sitting at the same table with her. because my husband was the officiant, so we were sitting at, one of the preferred tables. Every once in a while I have to say, hey, do you think blah, blah, blah? Or hey, do you think blah, blah, blah? And say, oh, yeah. And she'd get up and take care of it. Because she was focused on being a maid of honor. She was focused on being a guest. She wasn't focused on duty. So that's a problem. So those are just a few ways we can overcome couples' objections to hiring us as planners and coordinators. Now, what I would discourage is trying to convince a couple to hire you. Please don't do that. Don't try to convince a couple to hire you. When we educate them, the goal is for them to recognize that they need us, for them to recognize and see our value. When educating slips into convincing, then there's a power shift, and it's not in our favor. And you will continually have to prove you're worth it. And nobody wants to be in that position. You don't need that. So, and no, you're not gonna lower your price. Okay, so your budget is this, and your budget is that. Okay, so I'll cut my price. Don't do that. Because I've been at final walkthroughs and have seen couples, my couple, who was crying broke the whole time, or concerned about their budget the whole time. That's a better way to say it. Just whip out $500. Let's do that. Let's have a champagne toast. And I'm thinking, but I thought you said your budget. So remember what I said earlier? People or couples will pay for what they deem necessary. Make sure you are working with a couple that deems your service necessary, okay? But first, you have to see it as necessary. So above all, always know your worth, your value. And last but not least, be okay with walking away from a job. If you did let me just backstep, and we're just about done. But let me backstep a little bit. If we talked about numbers in the beginning, right? If you sat down and calculated your numbers properly to come up with your price, you would be fine with walking away. Because if you did it for anything less than this, I would be giving away my services. So first and foremost, we need to get down and dirty, or whatever you want to call it, with those numbers. Like, what is your overhead? How much does it cost your assistant if you have one? To put gas in your car. How many times are you going to the venue with the couple? That's your time and your gas. So once you incorporate all those numbers that we started out talking about, and you calculate, okay, so this is what I need to charge to break even. This is what I need to charge to have a profit, because this is not a glorified hobby, right? This is how we pay our mortgage, right? This is how you feed your kids. This is how you buy clothes. This is how you spend money to come to conferences, right? So you need to be making money. So once you do that on the front end, not backing in, like, okay, I told her I'll do it for $1,600. And then you add up, this is what my assistant's gonna cost, and this is what this, I'm in the red. That's not the way to do it. We're business people. We're business people, people. We're business people. That's not the way to do it. So that was a brain illumination. So be okay to walk away. And speaking of walking away, we've come to the end of our time together. And I thank you for your time, because time, well, is time really money? I don't know, is time really money? That's something for the next talk, whether or not time really is money. But you need to guard your time, because you can't get that back. You can't get it back. So when you're working with someone, make sure that, or I recommend that you really screen the person, and is this somebody I want to spend 6 months of my time with? Are they going to drain me? Is it really going to be a collaboration, or am I going to be dragging the person along? Okay? All right, so I can go on and on, but I won't because there are other classes for you to attend. Thank you so much.